We back, episode 3, Inspire the Youth. It's your host, Terrell Barnes.
What's up, man? It's your host, Julius Borms. Yes, sir. Back
It's been a
again.
great, it's been a great weekend.
That's a fact, man. Especially, I see you out here repping the brand, man. You out here
Yeah,
repping it
yeah.
for the squad, man. ACC champs. I know a lot of people don't like it, but hey,
Hey, they hate it. Yeah, they just
uh,
they can't stand it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But we the villains, and we embrace it. You know what I'm saying? We embrace it being the villains. We love that.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Duke. You know what I'm saying? The regular season champions outright and the ACC champions. But none of that really means nothing. We trying to win that big one. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Absolutely,
talking.
man.
You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
We get Cooper Flag come back.
Speaking
It's
of
a
Cooper
good
Flag,
chance.
we
It's a
did it
good
without
chance
Cooper Flag.
to cut down the Nets.
Yeah. So we got Cooper coming back. Um, I got a good feeling about it. Hey, shout out to Isaiah Evans too, man. Shout out to Slim.
Yeah, man.
Hey
Shout
man,
out to Showtime, man. Showtime, man.
he bring that energy. Hey, we loving it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Fan favorite, man.
Big Pat been hooping. You call his number, all he do is come in and dominate. We love seeing it, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey man,
Shout
the
out to
team.
Khan, man.
Yeah, man. Con.
Shout out to
You,
Khan, man.
yeah, Lotto pick. Lotto pick. You
Straight
know what
up,
I'm
bro. That,
saying?
yo,
Hey,
son is nice.
basketball
You can't
IQ
even
through the
deny
roof.
him. Son is real. He dead nice.
He's
Dead
undeniable.
nice.
You know what I'm saying? Basketball IQ through the roof. And
Absolutely.
what is there to say about Cooper Flag that hasn't already been said? We don't even have to get into that. But
Nah, man.
we gonna we're not gonna go too crazy on the Duke talk because we know how y'all feel. But this has been a good weekend, so
Yeah,
we had to get into it real quick. But yeah, episode 3, man. What's the name of this jump?
Episode 3 is where your money at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Once again, for everybody who was repping with marathon members, they remember that song title. They remember, they definitely remember that joint on Mailbox Money. But really, we're gonna do a deep dive, man. We're gonna do a deep dive into a discussion that really deserves a lot of credit or a lot of
Mm-hmm.
address. A lot of people talk about it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Where your money at is um we're gonna have a conversation about, reparations for black Americans and just
Yeah.
everything that goes into it. It's always gonna be a topic that people wanna hear and people wanna talk about. So we're gonna get into it for real.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about reparations, man. Um, before we get into it, we want to hit them with the disclosure.
All right, yeah, I got you. Hold up.
My bad. The mission statement. My bad.
All
Where
right.
your money
So
at?
Inspire the Youth is a podcast dedicated to empowering the next generation through financial literacy, wealth building, and entrepreneurship. We create a space to learn, exchange ideas, and push financial conversations forward, equipping young people with the knowledge and mindset needed for lasting success.
Mm-hmm. And the information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and nothing discussed should be taken as financial advice. Always do your own research and consult with a professional before making any financial decisions. Invest wisely and use your best judgment. All right, man. So I think it was, I don't know, Wednesday. You sent me a link, and there was a link. Slim Thug was talking to Willie D. I guess Willie D was interviewing him, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
right on the Willie D podcast.
yeah, so Willie D was asking Slim Thug about how he feels about reparations. Do he think that we should get reparations? If we were to get reparations, would he want reparations? So before we get into that, just just to shout out Slim Thug because we're gonna give our opinion on it, but we got a lot of respect for Slim Thug. We're fans. We've been fans of Slim Thug for I don't know 20 years, 25,
Fact.
whatever. However, when we first heard Still Tipping, you know what I'm saying? So Slim Thug got bars. He always been nice with the pen. Some of my favorite verses ever are about Slim Thug, and he's always been a great artist to me. And he's done it independently, which obviously we respect that too. And he's somebody that is a voice for independent artists and somebody they can model their career after if they want to go independent. And he's somebody that vouches for artists maintaining their master recordings. So he's an artist. So you know what I'm saying. We love Slim Thug. So shout out to Slim Thug, and even more so on the business side, he's done even more on that side. So there's nothing but respect for Slim Thug.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Shout out
and
Slim, man. Shout
Willie D too,
out.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Shout out Willie D too, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to see some of the people that's, they was able to, make a transition. Like Willie D is one of those guys, man, who was able to make a transition, from the music space to the media space, and he's doing his thing, man. Like I love seeing us being able to pivot and still be successful in another lane. Like that's real inspirational, man. So shout out Slim, shout out Willie D, man. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna play the clip. Cause you like I said, you sent the clip to me earlier this week, and you was just like, yeah, Slim tripping. So I played it.
Yeah, I thought he was
Um,
tripping on that, but we'll
yeah,
we'll we'll let it speak for itself.
yeah. So I played it, and then after I watched it, I was like, oh no, this that's this week's episode. We gotta talk about this. You know what I'm saying?
But
And you came up with the name for the episode, and the rest is history. So let me pull up the clip and play it.
Because I'm actually black owned out here. I'm one of the very few rap rappers who is not owned by a white man, by a Jewish man. I don't even know no other rappers who got on a whole catalog like Slim Thug. So to ever question my blackness when I have the integrity enough to not even let a white man own my music, and it's people buying masters and selling masters every day, like it's none. I'm none affected by that. You know what I'm saying? I stand on too much business when it comes to that.
Are you speaking to the comments where you made when you was talking about black people need to move on and stop blaming white folks?
Maybe I don't. And now that's not what I was talking about. But that they took that clickbait out of that. You need to stop blaming white folks. Yeah, it ain't about, oh man, white people ain't never did nothing to you or nothing like that. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of waiting for somebody to give you something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they wrong. Yeah, they did all that. But why are you waiting on your enemy to give you something? Why are we asking for reparations in 2025 when people came from all over Earth to America and been successful? Even in your neighborhood, the nail lady, the corner store ain't owned by you. You know what I'm saying? But we waiting on somebody to hand us some 90% of the time. And that's why we sit back and in last place when they say which race got the most. Is because instead of taking advantage of right now and just saying, man, without whatever I ain't have, I'm finna make it happen right now. Without nobody giving me nothing, I don't want nothing from nobody. I only want to stand on my feet as a man and go conquer this earth and whatever and leave my legacy behind. You know,
To be clear, you don't want reparations.
I don't want no reparations from
Now,
nobody.
let me stop right there. I want reparations, and here's why.
Okay.
It ain't even necessarily for me. It's for my ancestors, because that is a debt owed. They died. They worked. They were treated like the worst that you can even
Totally
imagine
agree.
that somebody could ever be treated. And it didn't end with slavery. It moved on into the Jim Crow era, and it's still going on right to this day. So reparations would absolutely give black people some get back and some seeds to plant. Like right now, a lot of us, we don't have seeds. A lot of these people, everybody else had seeds,
Facts.
including white people. When immigrants come here, they have seeds used and that are provided to them from our government by way of our tax dollars.
Facts.
They will take our shit and give it to them and allow them to come up, but at the same time try to subjugate us. So Those reparations ain't just for me. It's for my ancestors. I got it. I could say I don't necessarily need it, but I do know a whole lot of black people that could use them damn reparations
Right.
to get on their feet.
100% agree
And
with
so,
everything you're saying.
And so we need those reparations because it's a debt owed. It's almost like if what if
I
what if
totally
you
agree
gave
with you.
somebody some money? What if you gave?
But look, though.
Hold on. What if you gave somebody some money? Let's say it's a substantial amount of money. You gave somebody, let's say, $100,000.
Right.
You passed on. Your sons know this motherfucker borrowed 100 racks from my dad and
Right.
ain't paid it back yet.
Right.
They not supposed to go get that money?
Look what I'm telling you though. What if the dude broke? What if whoever had the 100,000 is broke and you know you'll never get it?
But this one, right? Well, he got to get it out his ass or something.
So that's what
You know what I'm saying? It gotta come from somewhere.
That analogy goes
It's
the same
gotta come from
thing.
somewhere.
It go the same way with America. Do you really believe that these folks will ever in life
Yeah.
actually give us some reparations?
You know why I say yes?
When did,
You know
when,
why
when
I
did
say
we
yes?
start asking for reparations?
We've been asking for reparations.
About around what time? You don't know? I don't even know.
It's since the beginning of time.
It's 2025, Willie.
Okay. It's 2025, Willie. Man. You want to start this off?
Yeah, man. Let me just start by saying, like I said, shout out to Slim, man. We respect him, but my honest opinion, I just felt like he was tripping on that. Like, Willie hit it right on the head, man. Like, that's really two different conversations. I think when we talk about reparations, like whether you'll actually get reparations is a totally different conversation, in my opinion,
Yeah.
than whether or not we deserve reparations.
Right.
And
That's two different situations.
two different things. Like I agree with Slim when it comes down to, the mindset behind, hey man, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. It's a powerful quote that come from Elijah Muhammad, and it was like, it says, do for self or suffer the consequences. And what he's pretty much saying is that you have to start organizing, start building, start doing things, start building, or just start putting things together for yourself, as opposed to waiting on somebody to hand you something. And that's an absolute fact. You know what I'm saying? Like that's absolute truth, 100%. Like, we have to do for ourselves. We have to have the mindset to where we don't want no handouts. We don't want no we're not waiting for nobody to do nothing for us. We have to have our own initiative, our own drive, want to build our own thing. We have to have and want to have our own as a collective, as Black Americans as a collective. So, like, I agree with that. From as far as what Slim said when he said that, the mindset of wanting something, that expecting somebody to give you something. I agree with him on that, but at the same time, this is not something that this is not something that we should be waiting for, as if somebody's hand. This is not a handout, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Reparations is not a handout. It's not a. It's not a gift.
Nah.
It's
Nah, it's not.
it's a debt owed.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that I think we need to focus on. And then that part of the conversation, it's a debt owed, because these so much atrocities has happened to us over the years, over so much a length of time, that you know anytime you see somebody have or somebody oppressed for so long, they need to be repaired. It's a lot of repair that's really due and needed in the community, and reparations should be a part of that repair. When you oppress somebody, when you go to war, for instance, and that country has suffered, through so much damage, loss of people, loss of military, loss of they become destabilized because of the war. A lot of times reparations are given to that specific set of people to help them build themselves back up. And that's what they owe us. They owe us reparations for all the irreparable damage that they've done to us over the length of time. That's why we should never, in my opinion, ever stop speaking about and fighting for reparations.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, Coming from the standpoint of Willie D, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted on my Instagram story the other day. A major problem that we have in America is a lot of people only care about what directly affects them personally. Okay, and this really had nothing to do with this topic, but it ties right into it. So Slim Thug, he's speaking from a place of wealth. You know what I'm saying? He is somebody who does not need reparations, and he said he don't want reparations himself. Now we know that Slim Thug wasn't always, well off financially, and he's pretty much what you would call somebody that's self-made, right? So
Right.
he got it out of the mud, right? But he's also, like I said, speaking from a place of how he feels personally, something that would personally affect him, which is why he said he wouldn't want anybody to give him anything. He specifically said that. But we got to get out of not caring about how stuff affects other people. Cause just because you don't need the money, just because you wouldn't want the money, doesn't mean that your cousin wouldn't need it, or your aunt wouldn't need it, or your friend wouldn't need it, or that they wouldn't want it. And that goes for anything. That goes for anything out there, not just reparations. And I think a lot of people only care about what directly affects them personally. So
Nah,
I
those are
agree with Willie
facts.
D. You know what I mean? I agree with Willie D because that's basically what he hitting on. He said that he might not need the money, but somebody he know might need the money. And like you said, it's not it ain't a gift, it ain't a favor, it's a debt owed. You know what I'm saying? Period. So I think that, you know, we need to keep fighting for it for sure. Now, do I think that we're gonna get reparations? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? And there's reason behind that. Um, we've been systematically oppressed for a reason. So why would we get anything financially? Why would they help us close the wealth gap? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, that's true, man. Like we were saying from the jump, like that's really kind of a two-part thing where it's like, okay, maybe it's not a reality, you know what I'm saying? Just if you basing it on history, you're basing it on history and you're basing it on how things have gone and whatever happens, it's like yeah, the likelihood of actually getting of the likelihood of Black Americans actually getting reparations is probably slim to none, in my honest opinion. However, that don't change the fact that they owe the money.
They
And
do.
that's to me is the most important part. Like it's money that's owed. Like, we are on this podcast and one of the biggest things that we champion through the clothes and through the messaging is closing the wealth gap.
Yep.
Um and how reparations, if we're gonna talk about closing the wealth gap and we can talk about investing and we can talk about uh real estate and all these other things, ways to generate enough financial stability to help close the wealth gap. If we're going to talk about that in all honesty and sincerity, well, reparations would do a tremendous service for closing the wealth gap. Like, um, we when you have so much, a laundry list of systematic oppression that's happened over a length of time, it's hard to just keep saying, hey, we could just get out the mud. Well,
Mm-mm.
not, we've done that. Nothing's changing because we're saying that we got to get it out the mud. The
Right.
fact that we have to be self-made, we're gonna do that regardless.
Yeah, we done
That's
that.
gonna happen regardless. You
What
can't
happened to
sit
Black
back.
Wall Street?
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like these are It's been so many examples over history of us pulling ourselves up and doing for self and creating, and we still doing it. Like we're still doing it to this day. Like that doesn't stop, but that doesn't also change the fact that hey, man, like you shouldn't just like we black folks should never just sit down and be quiet or forget about or just let this ride. Like we don't let nothing ride when it come to each other. We never let it ride. We
Mm-mm.
always got something to say. We always gonna stand on business when it come to each other. Nah, so it's the same energy it should be needed or should be dedicated to this. Like regardless of how much money you got, if you're well off or if you're not. Hey man, as a collective, this is something that we deserve based on the repair that's needed for the damage that's been caused. It's
And
just
still
that
being,
simple to me.
yeah, and
Right.
it's still being caused.
Yeah, man,
So
it's still going on every day.
yeah, man. So how you think people feel about reparations as a whole?
Um, I think most Black Americans want reparations.
Nah, I'm
I
talking
think.
about white people and black people.
Oh well, I'm gonna tell you right now, white people don't. In my, you know, to me, white people don't feel like they owe reparations.
Mm,
Um, White people will never admit to benefiting from the systematic oppression of Black people. They won't admit to that. They
nah,
don't. Um, they don't want to be a part of it. They distance themselves from that. They'll spin it off. Hey man, you want a handout. You know what I'm saying? Or, I never owned slaves. Or, you know, they find a way to spin it, to
yeah,
change the narrative, to try to push it, you know what I'm saying? To try to push it in a different direction, to try to redirect the conversation. Like they don't think that because, or they feel because they didn't physically own slaves, their grandparents didn't own slaves, more than likely. You know,
hmm,
this is 2025. People's grandparents didn't own slaves, more than likely. You know what I'm saying? Like that didn't happen. But at the
mm-mm,
same time, the lineage of it, the results of it are still benefited from white people as a whole today.
yeah,
The reason why they get to have what they have now is because of what happened in the past. And
absolutely.
so I know they don't want to, that's it's just something that they try to distance themselves from because at the end of the day they don't really feel like they should be tied to it or I really honestly feel like they just want to spin the conversation to the point where we don't have to talk about it anymore. They don't want to talk about it. They would be happy if we
Nah,
stop talking about it because they
hmm,
don't feel like it affects them and they don't feel like it's directly connected to them when in real reality it really is.
yeah, they feel like it doesn't affect them personally, so who cares? Move on.
Right.
Slavery was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Get over it.
Yeah.
Pull yourself
We
up
heard
by your
that. We heard it.
you can do it if we can do it. Well, the forefathers of the land stole the land, so they already started off with wealth by stealing land, and they just passed that along from generation to generation to generation to generation. Most of these companies in America that's been around for hundreds of years they were formed by thieves. You know,
In fact.
so white people can say what they want. I don't care. I got some research. You know what I'm saying? I got real facts. All right.
Right?
I might can put this chart. See if I can put this chart up. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, y'all know I love Pew Research. I always say that wrong. PewResearch.org. All right. They give you they give you some good information and it's accurate. So this article is actually from 2022. So it's not recent, but I'm sure it's it's very current as far as how people feel. I don't think it's changed much. 77% of black Americans, compared with 18% of white Americans, support reparations for descendants of enslaved people. Okay. So, all US adults, 68% say no, 30% say yes. 80% of white people, 80% of white people say no.
Hey man, there you have it. You
Okay.
know,
Okay. 80%. So, that's self explanatory. Okay. 77% of black people say yes. Really, it should be in the 90s, but I'm not going to nitpick that. But the number to look at is the 80%, right? And then if you look down further, Republicans, Jesus, 91%.
mm,
This is
man.
pathetic. 91%.
Hey man, look, I don't, the thing about it is that I don't think, white people have never really hid how they really feel,
Hmm.
about us and about,
Let me
just really about us as a whole. They've never really hid it or denied it in any way.
take it off. Yeah.
They just don't feel like they just don't feel, it's almost as if they just don't have any remorse. At least that's how it feels, like um, we know that we are
80%,
under
bro.
what was that?
I just said 80% again. That was it.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah, 80% is just like, they just don't feel like they're tied to it. They don't feel like we deserve, and I really think that they really, really honestly, I really feel like they do think they really understand that they are tied to it. And they understand what we've been through and what we've been, speaking about and, talking about and trying to push for. And they understand what we've been through. Um, but the system is built for them. And when the
Yes.
system is built for you and it benefits you,
Yes.
you don't want to give that up in any way. Like you don't.
Ah.
Let's just be honest. You don't really want to give up any power. You don't really give
Mm-mm.
up any control. You don't really want to give up anything that might. You feel like a boost to somebody else is a detriment to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like that's how they feel for the most part about it. And I really no changing. I don't really think there's no changing the how they feel about it. Like if you don't feel like we deserve it by now, then you definitely ain't gonna never. It's definitely not gonna get. It's not gonna change over time. But to me, like, hey man, this is something that we need to continue to push for, continue to drive the conversation, continue to kick and scream and fight until we get it, until we get some of it, until they come up with something. Because at the end of the day, you don't just get to walk away. You don't just get to cause so much harm to a people and just never fix it, never get it right, never get to um, never get to repair. I don't feel like that's how things should go. And as speaking for a black man in America, man, I'm just not with that at all.
Mm-mm. So 8 out of 10 people, 8 out of 10 white people I see don't want reparations to happen.
Right.
They don't want to level the playing field. They are not going to be assisting us with trying to close the wealth gap. Okay, they don't want that. They want to see us on the lowest end of the totem pole, and it's up to us to realize that, and we're 100% responsible for closing the wealth gap. If we don't want to do it, and if we don't decide to do it, it'll never be done. Cause is
Right.
nobody coming to save you? Is nobody gonna give you a handout? I'm telling you right now, all we got is us. They do not care. Okay. They got us right where they want us, and they want to keep us there forever.
Oh yeah, they would love that. They would love for us to just keep. They would. That's the thing, right? They would really love for us to just keep doing what we're doing. Just keep on keeping on, keep things at the status quo the way it is. Because, like I said, man, the structure benefits them. Um, it benefits them in every way. Really. Um, they have the total power structure, and they don't want to relinquish any power. And this is not even really a power conversation. This is just more so like, hey, we know we messed. This is we know we. It's almost like an acknowledgement of what you've done. And they don't even want to acknowledge,
Mm-mm.
what was done, what they're still doing. That's what really, it really makes me feel a certain type of way. Because at the end of the day, like, how could you not, where's your moral compass at? But if you look throughout history, we haven't seen much of a moral compass. So that's to me explains why when you ask 8 out of 10 white people, hey man, you think black people deserve reparations for everything they've been through, and they be like, nah, I just don't see it. Um, I think that they have they lack the empathy and the moral judgment, the yeah, the moral judgment to be able to say or admit fault and wrongdoing with what they've done over the length of time that we're talking about. And it's like, um, it's tough, man. It's really a tough pill to swallow, man, because at the end of the day, we have to live in this structure, under this structure. And it's like you know what you know what you know what you've done. You know what we've been through. You understand. It's not as if you don't understand, but it's just like they just don't care, honestly.
They don't. And we realize, even if we did get reparations, or if it was seriously proposed, there are some challenges that come with it. Defining eligibility, determining who's eligible for reparations, and how to distribute that's a complex thing, right?
Right,
Yeah. So, and finding the resources to fund reparations is also another challenge too, because according to them, we trillions of dollars in debt, right?
right,
So imagine them talking about our debt, but saying, hey, we're gonna give descendants of slaves this amount of money for reparations in the middle of a debt crisis. It's certainly not gonna happen. Even if we weren't even if we weren't in this type of debt, it wouldn't happen. But it's definitely not gonna happen now. But we can definitely send billions of dollars to other countries.
right. And that again, man. Is just like you know we shouldn't. As far as like, okay, well, the country can't afford. I've heard conversations that say, well, if the government just decide to pay out reparations, it would bankrupt the country.
Mm.
I'm not saying that that's not true. Um, what I am saying is that it's enough smart people in this world where they can, start, figuring out a structure that works. The problem is not that we need this money tomorrow. It's not that we need it this year, but to act as if it can't be done is just that's just dishonesty. Honestly, it's complete dishonesty, and it's like, nah, man. We can really start. We can really have a structure. But
Hmm.
it takes for them to first to acknowledge that a debt needs to be repaid. Like, if you never even acknowledge that a debt has to be repaid, if you never acknowledge, hey man, we've oppressed these people for so long, then you can't even get the conversation started.
Nah, not
And
at all. They're just gonna
you
keep
know,
deflecting it. And as time passes, it's just gonna be tougher and tougher to make it a reality. They've
Right.
proposed things besides financial payments. They've proposed things like land grants, business grants supporting black-owned businesses through grants for startup expansion and to purchase properties, things like that. Um, any of that would spike the economy for black people, I think.
Yeah, nah, no doubt about it, man. Like it's this it's definitely a way that it can be done, but it's just more so about the want to. Do you really, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't it has to be a want to, and it has to be a lot of people who know how these things work to sit down and have it. Like they can come up with all these solutions to everything else. It's not as if they can't come up with a solution or it's impossible or improbable. It's just not. It's so many things that they could do to help. There's so many things that they could change to help. It's so much like, to send so much money for aid, around the world and to have billions of dollars to Ukraine and billions of dollars to this place and that place and every time something goes on in the world, we step in and we help. We provide aid. We provide billions of dollars whenever something goes wrong in the world. A lot of times, to support whatever efforts are going on outside of the country that they want to, whatever efforts or agendas that they want to serve. This is a domestic situation that could be addressed if they so choose to. But at the end of the day, like it's really not. It's not a priority. It's not a focus. Uh, um, it's not something that they care to acknowledge or talk about. And that's why, in my opinion, we should never let it die. We never let the conversation go. I don't care how far, down the road we go. It's 2025 right now. I don't care if it's 2050 to 3000. I don't care. Like, you should never be able to just do what they've done and just walk away without having to take any accountability for that. Like that's just not how it works. And
Yeah,
we you know
yeah,
we gotta fight for what's ours, man. We've been doing that. We cannot never lose that. Never lose the initiative or the drive to want to fight for what's yours. This is something that we owe. They owe this.
I agree,
They
man.
owe us the money. They owe us the land.
Yeah, it's
It's just
just
it's
like
just that
Willie
true.
D. said. Just like Willie said, man. This is a debt paid by the ancestors. If nothing at all, it's owed because of that.
Right. This is the structure. You used us to build what we have here. Like it's not rocket science. You used us to build the foundation of what this country is right now.
Yeah,
Without the free labor, without the slave trade, without that, you know, you don't have what we have here now.
absolutely not.
So that's money owed off of, the backs of our ancestors, just like you said, that's the money owed off their back.
Yeah, man. So Slim, you tripping, bro? Still got love for you though.
Nah, man, I rock with Slim Thug, man. I just think that um, I think he was bugging out, man. Like I know he don't, when you got money, you don't need it, but it like, nah, I want it for us. I don't want it for myself or this, that, and the third. Like, I don't care how much money I got. I want it for us. Like, I know that this is something that could help us collectively close the wealth gap. This is something that, we need our own land. We need our own, we need to be able to build amongst each other and have our own communities and these, that, and the third. Like, we need these things. And that, like, you know, we don't own, for the most part, we don't own our own communities. Um,
Absolutely not. We don't.
you go to Chinatown, you know what it is. Like you go over here in the suburbs, you know what it is. Like they had other communities have um, sections of the country that they occupy. in the sections of the country that we occupy, we have very little ownership in it. And so like even then, even just that is a start, you know, um, giving us access to the ownership, giving us access to, the land that we occupy, giving us or having the ability to produce our own thing, to start, to produce on our own, to spend amongst each other. Like that, all that's important. And you know, that it's just something that we can't take lightly, man. Like it's a real conversation. It's a real thing that's going on amongst us that I think we all really need to get on the same page about. Like this is something that we shouldn't let die or shouldn't let other people come in and say what they want to say about this situation at all. Like this is about Black Americans and the money that the government really owes us for everything that they've done to us and done to our ancestors. And it's just that, man. Like this, we need that.
Yeah, man, we about to wrap it up on that note. Hey, and if you don't remember nothing from this episode, just remember, man, 80%.
80%, man. It's a crazy number, bro. Yeah, we gonna hit them with the book of the week. Um,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
book of
we
the
we
week.
did that for the week, man. My bad.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reference this book right here. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Um, it's kind of a quirky title, but shout out to Rashad from EYL. He put me on. He put us on to this. But
Shout out to you,
it's
Shah.
real. It's a real influential book when it comes to communication. And that's something that a lot of us need help with. A lot of us understanding conversations, understanding approach in business, and that book is very influential. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to that, giving you a lot of free game, a lot of game, not free because of course you got to pay for the book, but it gives you a lot
Yeah,
of game about just that in itself, like how to talk to people, how to conduct business conversations, um, what people are looking for, your approach, and it's got a lot of game in it, man. I recommend it very highly. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the book of the
okay.
week right there, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. I haven't read that one, so
Man,
appreciate
a lot
that,
of
bro.
great games for sure.
All right, man. Where your money at? Episode 3. Signing
So
off.
3, man. Cut the check.
Hey, man.
Cut the check, man.
Pick yourself up by your bootstraps this week.
Man. Fuck all that. Cut the check, man.
Man.
Don't let these people play. Don't let them play with you, man.
Yeah, man. Get us them reparations, man. Signing off.
Yes, sir.